All right. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Happy Wednesday. My name is Courtney. I'm so excited that you guys are here to join me today. We are going to be making two different awesome types of slime. But before we get started, I just wanted to say again, my name is Courtney. I'm going to be walking you through this class today. I actually work for Elmer, so I'm super excited. I actually work on the slime team. So slime is kind of my favorite thing ever. So I'm really excited to be here with the slime experts, which is you guys. And I'm also here with my friend Alex. She also works on the Elmer's team with me. She's going to be our Q&A person. So if you have any questions as we go, or when I ask you guys questions about like your favorite slime making colors and all that fun stuff, you're going to be talking with Alex. She's going to read out your answers to me. So make sure you contact her in the chat. We're really excited to be here with Michael's 24 Merry Days of Making. This is like the coolest time ever. It's cold outside. So we're going to be making some winter-inspired slimes today. We're going to be making a snow fizz slime. It's going to have fake snow in it. I'm going to make mine this really pretty blue color. It's really soft. It's actually very crunchy and crackly. And then we're also going to be making, and they've melted a little bit here as they've been sitting out, but a candy cane inspired slime. It's going to be red and white. And I'm going to show you how to make that slime. We're going to spice it up with glitter and everything. But my general rule is there's no right or wrong with how you make your slime. You can make them any color you want. You can use any kind of glue. You can add glitter, not add glitter. It does not matter. Whatever you want is what I want you to make today. I'm just going to show you how to make the slimes that you can see here on my table, and we're going to go from there. So I want to first by starting off walking you through all of the ingredients that we're going to have and use today. So for our snow fizz slime, we're going to be using, of course, Elmer's white school glue, the greatest base for slime ever. If you agree, let us know. So we're going to start with that. And I'm going to show you two different ways to activate your slime today. You can use either method, whatever you have available. And if you don't have anything available today, also not a problem at all. You can always go to michaels.com tomorrow under the Kids Club page where you sign up for this class, and you can find this exact video live tomorrow. So you can find it, you can rewatch, figure out whatever ingredients maybe you didn't have today or you want to try again tomorrow. So don't stress if you don't have it today. You can always come back and join us at a later point in time. But so I'm going to show you two ways. So the first I'm going to show you for our snow fizz slime is going to be we're going to be using our glue. Then we're going to be using baking soda and contact lens solution. So that's going to be our base. I'm going to add food coloring to mine. So you can see I have blue food coloring here. And then I'm going to add some glitter because I personally love adding glitter to slime. So I'm going to add some glitter. And then of course we have our fake snow, which I've pulled out here. So that's going to be the first slime. So really quick, just so you can get a feel as you're thinking if you need to go grab some other supplies for the second slime, our candy cane slime, I'm personally going to be using 2 bottles of white glue. We're going to make one that's white, one that's red. So I have my red food coloring. If you want to split your slimes between 1 bottle of glue or whatever you have available, that's totally fine. You can make as much or as little as you want, but this is what I'm going to be doing. And then the other way that we're going to show you how to make slime today is using Elmer's Magical Liquid. So instead of baking soda and contact lens solution, we'll use Magical Liquid. You can interchange them either way. You can use the Magical Liquid for your snow fizz. You can use contact lens solution for the candy cane. Doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, whatever you have available, or what you're going to have later this weekend, maybe you want to try with friends later, totally works. I also will, of course, be adding glitter to this slime as well. And so really the only other supplies that you need, a bowl or something to hold your glue and your activating solution in, something to mix with. I have a spatula here. It's my preference. And then if you want, you can either mix directly on your table when we're actually folding the candy cane slime together. I brought a piece of parchment paper, totally not necessary. It's just what I had around my house. Whatever works for you is great. If you have any storage containers, feel free to grab those, whatever you need to go ahead and get settled. But without further ado, I want to pause right there. I know I threw a lot at you. Alex, have you gotten any questions as I've gone through? Or if anybody has questions, go ahead and enter it into the chat now, and Alex can read them out to me so I can get all of your questions answered.
Yeah, of course. So we are having a few people say that they don't have white glue. So looking for some alternatives, and then also any alternatives for contact lens solution and baking soda.
Sure. So for glue, we have a whole range of glues that you can use for these projects. So we have Elmer's white glue, you have Elmer's clear glue, metallic glue, color changing glue, glow in the dark glue, glitter glue. All of those glues can work to make slime. So if you have any of those Elmer's glues lying around your house, feel free to go ahead and grab them. You can have them be whichever of those glues you like. They'll have extra effects if you have glow in the dark, for example. That's totally fine and super cool. I have white glue for today. But again, if you also don't have any of those glues that I listed out, don't worry. You can always pause this video, come back to it at another point in time on michaels.com under the Kids Club section. You can find this video and you can go ahead, ask your parents, grandparents, whoever, whichever adult you are making this slime with today or wanting to make the slime with today, you can ask them to help you get some of any Elmer's glues for your class. In terms of the activating solution, so we recommend 2 different versions that are safe for kids. That's very important to us as Elmer's, of course. So we recommend either the baking soda and contact lens solution or Elmer's magical liquid. So you can use either of those 2 methods, and the same thing applies. If you happen to not have those today, that is okay. You can always come back and revisit this video after it's recorded starting tomorrow. Are there any other questions at this point, Alex?
I think that's it right now. I think you've kind of answered it, that they can use whatever glues they have on hand, or that they can come back tomorrow once they get, or at a later time, once they get the materials they need.
Perfect. Well, if you guys have more questions, you can feel free to continue to put them through the chat. Alex will let me know. I want to get all your questions answered as we go along, so do not hesitate to reach out to us. And one other thing that I want to note, of course, when you're done making your slimes today, or whenever you make your slimes, we want to see the creation that you made, because I know they're going to be amazing. So definitely make sure to use your adults that you are making the slime with today, have them post on their social media account and hashtag Make It With Michaels, and make sure to tag at Elmer's Products on Instagram or Facebook, so that way we can see all of the creations that you've made today. We're super excited to see them. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to get straight to the slime making, because that's what we're here for. So we're going to start with, again, this really, really pretty snow fizz slime. So we're going to switch over to a top-down view now, so that way you can see exactly how I make the slime. So we're going to just center my stuff here so you guys can see everything. Perfect. So in order to make slime, of course, you have to start with your glue. So I'm going to add, again, my white school glue. If you have another version of Elmer's glue, go ahead and get that bottle. I'm going to use the whole bottle today. So I'm going to take the top off, and we're going to start by just squeezing all of the glue, or however much you want, into your bowl. While we're doing this, especially since this is the easy part of slime, then I'm sure you guys know what you're doing at this point, pouring the glue into the bowl. I want you to go ahead and let Alex know what your favorite color of slime is that you've ever made. And Alex, if you could help read out some of those answers, I'm super curious to know. As you guys can see here, I'm just continuing to squeeze out all the glue, and that's okay. If you don't get every last drop of glue, that's okay. I just like to squeeze it until most of it seems to come out, and then at that point, I'm just gonna go ahead and flip my bottle over, put the top on. I will be recycling this. You can go to elmers.com to figure out how to recycle your glue bottles. I'm gonna put that to the side, and now that I have my glue, if you want to change the color from white to blue, let's say, because that's what I'm gonna do, now would be the time to go ahead and add your food coloring. I'm going to take my food coloring, and my suggestion is you can always add more later, but you can't take it back once you put it in. So I'm going to add just 1 drop. Just squeeze in 1 drop. You really
Hey, Courtney, really quickly, I know we're having a little bit of trouble in the Q&A with some people not having the appropriate materials. So it looks like on the Michaels site that the list that you need got mixed up with the Saturday class. So we're happy to have you guys stick with us now if you have extra materials, but I think Saturday asked for ornaments and things like that to be able to make the slime, and it may align better with that class. So you're more than welcome to stick around for this one, but there's also the class on Saturday that will use the materials that were listed that you guys had received. So apologies for the mix up, but if you have that extra glue or any of those materials and want to make slime along with Courtney, she can teach you some really cool things to make.
Perfect. Sorry about the mix-up, guys. Not sure how that happened, but yeah, if you want to stick around and learn how to make these slimes for another point in time, feel free to hang with us, and we will go ahead and get started. So if you're here to make slime today, you have some slime materials available, grab your glue. If you want to add food coloring, I'm going to go ahead and add it now. So I'm going to start mixing in my blue food coloring here, and I want to mix it so it's fully mixed in all the way. So pretty much I don't want to see any white. This color is looking amazing, so I am super excited about this.
And Courtney, from your question earlier, we got a lot of people that love pink slime and also blue slime. So I think you're making the perfect color.
We are making the perfect colors today. That's great. I'm glad to hear that, because kind of the red and white candy cane we'll make later kind of blends back out to be almost like a pink color. Okay, so once you have your food coloring mixed in, this you can either add glitter now or you can add glitter later. I'm personally going to add glitter later. I like to press the glitter into the slime. It feels really soft, so I'm going to go ahead and start activating my slime. So first, I'm going to show you how to make it with baking soda and contact lens solution. So I'm going to take my baking soda, and you can measure this out if you want. I would recommend a teaspoon's worth. If you have a teaspoon, you can use a teaspoon, but I'm just going to eyeball it. So honestly, I'm just going to shake a little bit in there. That looks like about a teaspoon's worth, maybe a little more. It's okay, that will not hurt your slime. So now that the baking soda is in, I'm gonna go ahead and mix that in fully into my slime. Make sure that it's totally mixed in. And this just helps make the slime, makes the active ingredient in the contact lens solution mix very well with the actual glue. And that way you can get a really stretchy, yet not super sticky slime. So that's kind of the background as to why we use the baking soda. But now that my baking soda is totally mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and add my contact lens solution. So what I recommend here is to add a little bit at a time. So I'm going to show you, you can see it in this view, but I'm going to add a little bit at a time, mix really well, and then always add more just in small doses. That way, again, if you add too much activator, what can happen is your slime can get really firm. It won't be sticky, which if you prefer non-sticky firm slime, you're going to add more. If you prefer your slime to be a bit stretchier, but maybe a little bit tackier to the touch, you're going to add less. So my recommendation is to always just add a little bit at a time, mix it in, and I'll show you how you can kind of visually see your slime start to come together before you go in with your hands to help reduce some of the mess that I know I don't really like when my slime gets super messy. I like when it's sticky, but not when it's messy. So I'm going to start adding by just 1 squirt of my contact lens solution in. Took maybe 2 seconds to squirt that in, and now I'm going to mix really well. You can see it's still a very glue-like consistency. Doesn't seem to be turning into slime very well. So that means we need to add more. So I'm going to add another squirt, 1, 2, and we're going to mix that in. And you guys can go at your own pace here. Again, this is just my recommendation based on the ingredients that I have and the way that I like to make slime, but there is no right or wrong for the slime consistency, the slime color, any of that. So if you are like, I know what I'm doing, I know how to make slime, you can go ahead and just make slime, and I'll show you how to decorate it in a bit. And add a little bit more contact lens solution here because it's still very liquidy. But you can go ahead and make the slime however you prefer. If you would like some recommendations, these are mine. So this is what I'm walking you guys through now. So now you can see it's a little bit more of, it's sticking to the bowl a lot. Ultimately, what we're looking for is for this kind of glue mixture to turn into a slime that sticks to itself and not the bowl. That's my recommendation. So we're going to keep adding. I'm curious while we're doing all this mixing. So sounds like blue and pink are the slime color preferences. What about slime type? Like, do you like glow in the dark slime? Do you like fluffy slime, crunchy slime? Like, what's your favorite slime, your go-to slime? If you had to pick a slime that describes you, what would it be? Okay, so this is.
And hey, Courtney, would you mind just listing the ingredients that you used? I think some people joined a little bit late.
Yes.
So they were just asking what you were using again.
Of course, absolutely. So what we're going to be using today, I'll just show it here. I'm using Elmer's white school glue. You can use any of the Elmer's liquid glues. The only glue that will not turn into slime that's in a bottle like this is going to be the disappearing purple glue. So I would stay away from that, but any other glue, clear glue, glitter glue, glow in the dark, color changing, metallic, all of those will work. I'm using white for this. I'm dyeing my slime then blue because I have white glue, so I have food coloring. I'm using baking soda and contact lens solution to activate. And then I'm gonna add some glitter packets. You can see them here. And then fake snow, which I also got on michaels.com. It looks like this. It's like a very soft powdery texture. We're gonna add this last. So right now, all I've done is I've added the glue to my bowl. I've mixed in the food coloring. I've added the baking soda, and now I'm adding the contact lens solution to finally turn that glue mixture into a slime. So I've added about 4 or so squirts of contact lens solution. As you can see here, it's starting to turn into slime. It's starting to stick to itself and not the bowl, but clearly it's still very runny. So that means we're going to add a little bit more contact lens solution. So 1, 2. We'll continue to mix this. See how it's starting to pick off the bowl itself? That is what we want, because that means it probably also will not stick all over your fingers and your hands, which to me is not fun. So my recommendation at this point then, It's kind of sticking to the spatula, but not too much. So I'm just gonna take one finger and I'm gonna kind of peel the slime off. I have just a tiny bit, trying to see how sticky it is. It's a little bit sticky, so I'm gonna try and stick it back into the slime there. And because it's sticking to my fingers, I'm gonna add just a little bit more, not too much, because I don't want it to be too firm. I would say I like this slime to be a little bit stickier, so that way it holds the fake snow really nicely at the end. So I want to leave it a little bit on the sticky side, but I don't want it to stick to my fingers. So now,
And hey, Courtney, really quick, for those that are using Activator or the Elmer's Magical Liquid, do you have a recommendation on how they should be adding that into their slime? I know you'll show a little bit later, but for those that are using it right now.
Yep, it's a great question. I would do it the same way. So the only thing that you would skip is you would not add the baking soda, of course. You're just going to go straight to your magical liquid. I recommend adding in between a teaspoon and a tablespoon at a time of the magical liquid and stirring. And that too, same principle applies. The more you add, the firmer and less stretchy your slime is going to get. So I prefer to add a little bit at the time so I can kind of assess at that point in time, hey, this slime is the consistency that I want and I don't over add activator because you can always add more. Harder to take back. So my recommendation is maybe like a quarter size, and I'll show this later. I would say about a quarter size of magic liquid at a time. Mix really, really well. What you will find is with the magic liquid in particular, we have a lot of water to keep it safe. There will get to be a point where it kind of turns into this like jelly mixture. It's gonna, and we'll stir this later, but it'll kind of stir all around the bowl. Looks a little funny, looks like it may be ready to be touched. Keep stirring past that. And once you get the same effect of it actually coming off the bowl and picking up all of the stuff on the side, that's when you know that it's ready to go in with your hands. The same exact principle applies with the magic liquid. So with that, I'm gonna go in with just 1 to 2 fingers and kind of touch the slime, assess how sticky it is. It's not super sticky. I'm gonna pick up kind of the sides of the bowl because that makes it easy for me. This is like ASMR for adults, picking all the slime up, cleaning my bowl for me. I love that. And I just like to stick it back into my fingers. So like I said, this is a little bit stickier. This is my personal preference. You want it to just be tacky enough, but not stick all over your fingers. So you can see when I pull my fingers away, it doesn't stick. Just a little tacky.
And hey, Courtney, we had somebody ask, what do you do if the slime is separating?
Keep mixing. I think especially if you're using magical liquid and it's separating, I think that's just because the water likes to kind of sit on top of the slime. We want it to get mixed into that middle portion of the slime. So I would continue to mix until it becomes one like congealed formula. Good question though. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add my glitter. So I'm gonna add both this really pretty like white one and this silver one, just because I like a lot of glitter. You don't have to add any glitter. You can add 10 types of glitter, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to sprinkle them on the top here. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. Do you guys like adding glitter to your slime? And if so, how much glitter do you like to add? Lots of glitter, an okay amount of glitter, or no glitter. Why do you like adding glitter to your slime? This is my poll.
And from your question earlier, we had a lot of people that like fluffy slime and butter slime. Some people said pink glitter slime. So I think all of them.
Amazing. I love that. My favorite slime personally is butter slime. For especially those of you who said butter slime, I am with you. It's like so soft. I actually kind of think of the slime similarly to butter slime in the sense that it's a very soft type of slime. So I hope that you will like this. So I added my one glitter. I'm gonna let that sit on top while I add my second glitter packet. Let's open that, sprinkle that on the top. Oh my gosh, guys, this looks so good. How sparkly. Just reminds me of a beautiful winter's night. So now that the glitter is on top, of course, I want to mix this in. What I like to do is I like to just press the glitter into the slime here because I just think that looks so pretty. It feels so nice. The glitter is super soft on your fingers. And once it's kind of pressed down, starting to press into the slime a little bit. So I'm going to just take the ends, kind of pull it up, flip it over itself, press it in. I like to use just one hand so I keep my other hand clean. And we're just going to continue to fold in all the sides. And again, however you like to mix your slime is totally up to you. I just like to do it this way because I like to poke my slime. That's like my favorite part of the ASMR. So this slime is super nice. Start to see the glitters are kind of coming together here. And we're about ready to actually turn this into a true snow fizz slime. Right now, I would say this is just like a really pretty snowy slime, but I want to turn mine into a snow fizz. So the next step, now that we have the glitter in, we have our color in, it's a slime that you could play with. I want to add my fake snow. So I've poured out just a little bit into this extra bowl here just so you guys can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a finger's full and I'm going to put just a very soft layer over the top of my slime, like that. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did with the glitter. I'm going to press it in. And again, I would say add a little bit at a time until you get your desired slime consistency. Since I pressed it over the top, I'm going to mix it in. And like I said earlier, I like to make the slime a little bit on the stickier side because once you start adding this fake snow, you'll actually see that it absorbs a little bit of that tackiness in your slime. And that's when we'll know that it's ready to go. All right, so I've pretty much...
And Courtney, really quick, we had a couple questions. What did you just add in there? If you could tell everybody one more time, please.
So it is fake snow. You can find this on michaels.com. Try to find it. So this is what I'm using here. So little snow flurries. It's a very, very soft fake snow powder. It's very fine. And this is how you're going to turn your snow fizz into like a little bit of a gritty. It looks like that kind of snowball texture type of slime. And it makes the slime very soft. It absorbs some of that stickiness. This is what just the end product looks like again, so you guys can see. We're almost there. See, it has a little bit.
And then we had a few people ask if they could add more snow than you had shown, or will that do anything to the slime?
Yeah, you definitely can. And I'm going to go ahead and add more because I actually think that this needs more. So yes, you definitely can. I would again add a little bit at a time because as you'll notice, if you add lots and lots of this fake snow, your slime will get a little bit firmer. It will absorb some of that liquid in the slime. So that's why, again, I like to add just a little bit at a time of everything so that way you can reach that like perfect slime consistency. So I've already added one topping of the snow fizz. I'm going to go ahead and add the second one. So again, I'm taking just like a finger's full, putting it all over the top. It's so soft. And I'm going to press this in again so it starts to mix. I'm going to fold it over a few times so it gets all trapped inside. You want no fake snow left behind. So you don't want any slime left behind. Let's see how this is looking. Starting to look really good. If you guys can see this really nice gritty texture, it's starting to look definitely more like a snowball. I'm going to add probably just a little bit more. You can see I'm just trying to mix it in fully here. I'm going to put this back in my bowl and I'm going to add one more dosage of the fake snow. So I'm going to go in one more fingerful. This will be my third addition. Put that right on top. Press it in really easily like that. Fold it over a few times. You can hear it starting to get a little bit cracklier. It still has that really nice base slime consistency. Oh yeah, this looks so good. You can see the little bit of the sparkle, has that really nice gritty texture. It's super stretchy. You can almost hear a little bit of a sizzle when you stretch it next to your ear. Of course, don't put it on your face, next to your ear. Hear a little bit of sizzle. And I think this is good to go. What do you guys think? Alex, help me take note of what people think of this slime. I'm curious. It's a little bit different than we normally do. Super nice consistency. All right. So that
no complaints so far. I think people are liking it. I think people are still having trouble with their slime being a little bit runny. So if you have any recommendations there, I think that would be helpful.
Yep, definitely.
But other than that, people are loving their slimes.
Great news. If your slime is still feeling runny, I would go whichever activator you were using. If you're using, like me, the contact lens solution and baking soda, continue to add contact lens solution to your slime to help fix the runniness. If you were using magical liquid, go ahead and add more of your magical liquid to your slime until it reaches that desired consistency. So again, about a teaspoon's worth of magical liquid, about 2 seconds of a squirt of your contact lens solution, and that will be your best bet to get your slime to be runny. And the good thing is even though I have my snow fizz slime, ready, even though I have the glitter and I have the fake snow in here, you can still add more contact lens solution if this is too sticky for you. You can always add more later. That is not a problem with slime. All right, so I want to make sure that we get to the candy cane slime. So I'm going to put this slime over to the side, and we're going to switch gears to the candy cane slime. So we are going to start from the very beginning by making some white slime. So I'm going to use 2 different bottles of Elmer's glue for this portion of the video. You can use 1 bottle. You can again use any glitter glue, metallic glue, whatever glue you have available. You can use 1 bottle. You can use 2 bottles depending on how much slime you want to make. I want to make a big batch slime, so I'm going to make 2 bottles. One that's going to be white, one that's going to be red. So I'm going to start by making the white slime first. And that's just because once we add the red food coloring, if any slime is stuck on my bowl, I want to make sure that the white slime stays white and that the red slime stays red. So starting with the white, open up your bottle, go ahead and dump the whole thing in, just like we did before. I'm curious. Okay, so aside from slime, now that it's, you know, hopefully colder out wherever you live, what is your favorite like holiday activity? Do you prefer making snowballs, or do you like to make snow angels? Do you like to just drink hot chocolate and eat sugar cookies? Like, what is your favorite winter activity? Mine personally is
people say sledding,
Ooh.
Making snowballs. So clearly they're not from Atlanta. Playing in the snow, all the things I would love to do. Baking cookies for Santa.
Oh, okay.
Making snowmen, hot cocoa. Someone else said it doesn't snow where they are either. So they make hot cocoa.
That's okay. You can always, when you get older, visit a place that does. Perfect. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Hopefully you guys get to do all those fun activities you just listed. Back to our slime really fast. So I'm going to show you now how to use the magical liquid. So I've added my white glue. Since I'm going to keep this white for the candy cane, I'm going to go ahead and immediately start adding my magical liquid. So like I mentioned earlier, you're just going to add about a quarter size of magical liquid. So I'm just going to, and your magical liquid bottle can look different than mine. I know this is a big bottle. You can see I've added about a quarter size in, and I'm going to go ahead and start mixing that. So same thing we just did with the baking soda and contact lens solution. You want to mix it until the slime sticks to itself and not the bowl. And also is not this very liquidy solution, because this is pretty much still just straight glue. So once that's clearly been all mixed in, I'm going to add another quarter size amount of magical liquid here. Going to continue to mix that in. Starting to get a little bit more gelatinous, but definitely have a little bit of ways to go. And one thing I will say too, if you're using a different type of Elmer's glue than me today, like a clear glue, a colored glue, a glitter glue, you may have to use a different amount of your activating solution to get to the same slime consistency. Adding more magic liquid here, just because all of our glues require a slightly different amount of activator to make the same consistency of slime. And that's just because the chemistries of the glues are a little different. So that's totally normal. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm using clear glue, why is it taking me so much longer? That's totally normal. So just use kind of your best judgment based on the hopefully helpful tips that I'm trying to explain to you today in terms of what to look for when your slime is ready. So that way, no matter which Elmer's glue that you use in the future, you know when your slime is good to go. I'm gonna add more here. Continue to mix this in. As you can see, it's still pretty liquidy. Okay, so this is what I was trying to talk about earlier. So see how the slime is kind of swirling on itself in the beginning? Keep mixing through that, and you'll see you'll start to get a little bit of resistance. See, now it's starting to like stick kind of to the bowl again. So that way you don't go in with your hands. This is just what happens every time you use magic liquid. That's okay. It's just making sure that the magic liquid is getting mixed in evenly across your glue. So that's totally normal. You still need to add more. Add another quarter size here. Gonna mix this.
And Courtney, would you mind sharing what they can do if they don't have the magical liquid with the baking soda and contact lens solution?
Yeah, absolutely. So instead of adding magical liquid, what you're going to do is you're going to first, when you have your glue in your bowl, you're going to add your baking soda. I recommend, and you can measure this out or you can eyeball it, about a teaspoon's worth. So about that much. It's okay if you add a little bit more. It's not going to hurt your slime. So you would add this to your glue, mix it in completely so that way you don't see any more of the powder. And that's when you know that you're ready to fully activate it, which is where you're going to use contact lens solution. So at that point, similar to what I'm doing with the magic liquid, you're going to add a little bit at a time. Once you add a little bit, it's going to be the same process that you see me doing here. Adding and mixing until your slime sticks to itself and not the bowl. And so I will show you what it looks like in this slime. It's going to look the same for contact lens solution. It just may take maybe a little bit less liquid, and that's okay because they are different liquids, of course. But see how the slime is starting to kind of pick up from the bowl? That's a good sign. This is what we want. This tells me that the slime likes itself more than the bowl, which means it's also going to like itself more than your fingers. So this is a good indication here. I'm going to try to pick up more of it with my spatula here so I don't get my fingers messy. And if you're like, I don't care about the mess, I want to go in with my fingers now, by all means, go for it. And no one will stop you except maybe the adult that is with you, but I'm sure as heck not going to stop you. I just like to personally get my hands in at the last minute because of course you have to knead your slime with your hands. That's just part of the process that we can't skip, but I don't want it to stick all over my fingers because that's just hard for me to clean off. I don't like the feeling of it personally. So these are my helpful tips. So now that it's kind of sticking to itself, you can see it's easily coming off of the spatula. I'm going to use the slime to clean itself best I can off of my spatula. And I'm going to go ahead and put my spatula to the side. So at this point, I'm going to take, again, just 1, 2, 3 fingers most, touch the slime. See if it's sticking to you. This is not sticking to me. So I'm going to go in, kind of fold it over itself, get my fingers used to kind of the feel of the slime, and really make sure that it's sticking to itself and not the bowl. This seems to be doing a good job here. So this slime I feel like would be about ready to be picked up.
And then Courtney, just really quickly, we had somebody ask, what do you add if this slime is still a little bit sticky?
I would add more of whichever activator you were using. So if you were using Magical Liquid like I just was, I would add another quarter size dollop of your Magical Liquid. If you were using baking soda and contact lens solution, I would add more of just the contact lens solution, a quick 1, 2, I don't know how to measure that, about a teaspoon's worth probably, of your contact lens solution to your slime until it's no longer runny and no longer sticking to your fingers. So once you get it to a point where you think, okay, I can touch this, it's not going to stick all over me, got that really nice clicky sound that I love, you're ready for your mix-in. So I'm going to add glitter to this portion because like I mentioned earlier, I love glitter. So to my white slime, I'm just going to add this really pretty fine white glitter. So again, I'm going to just pour the glitter directly on top of the slime. It's actually maybe a little bit hard to see. This just got this really subtle glimmer. It doesn't really take away from the white slime because I do want my slime to be white for the candy cane. But once you have your glitter on top, I'm going to go ahead and press that again into the slime so it gets in there and sticks in very nicely. Fold the slime over a few times like so until it's all mixed in completely. Now, again, this may be hard to see over camera, but if you are following along and you're adding glitter, this should look really good right now because mine, oh my goodness, looks so good. Very white, just like beautiful, perfect snow outside. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this slime and I'm going to put it to the side. So you can put it in a container. That can be a plastic jar that you have lying around your house. You can put it on a piece of parchment paper, a paper plate, whatever you have, plastic Ziploc bag, whichever you have available. I'm going to put mine just in a storage container because I have one available. We're going to put this to the side so we can make our red portion of the candy cane slime. Are there any questions about the white slime, Alex?
Nope, no questions yet. We did have somebody ask if you could just go a little bit slower through the directions for this one. But I think everybody's enjoying it. I think they're still just kind of working through maybe having some wet slime. But I think if they just add a little bit more of the activator that they use, they should be in business.
Definitely. And okay, I will go nice and slow for this one. So this is the third and final slime that I'm going to make today, but the process applies to all of the slimes we've made today. So if you're catching up a little bit behind, I'll go nice and slow. Keep me honest on that, Alex, if I need to slow down again. But let's start again by adding whichever Elmer's glue you're going to be using to your bowl. So I'm going to use my white school glue, dump the whole thing into your bowl. And see the whole thing there. While I'm here too, as we kind of mentioned earlier, but if you joined a couple minutes late, we are going to be making a snowflake tinker tray on Saturday. I will be back the same time as today, 4 p.m. Central Time here at Michael's Kids Club. If you want to come back and make, that's more of a true like crafting project. If you want to come back and make a snowflake with me and learn how to make a tinker tray, as well as some really cool facts about snowflakes, feel free to come and sign up on michaels.com for our class on Saturday. Okay, so I'm just dumping in the rest of my Elmer's glue here. So like I said earlier, if you don't get all the glue out, that's okay. Use your best judgment. I'm just using this single bottle here for simplicity. You can add more, you can add less. The same principle applies across all of it. So that's why I want to talk you guys through the steps and kind of those checkpoints to look for as you're making your slime, so you can figure out, hey, if I have more glue, less glue than Courtney, you can figure out the same ratio of all the things to add just by, looking at the slime as you go. So once you have your glue in, I'm going to turn this slime into a red slime to be the red portion of my candy cane. So now would be the time to go ahead and add any food coloring. So I'm going to add red. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you can always add more later. You can't take it back once you put it in. So I'm going to add just 1 drop, and we're going to see how red this looks. I want this to be very red, so we may have to add more. So now would be the time to go ahead.
Courtney, we've had a couple of questions about baking soda and contact lens solution. So for this red slime, would you mind making it with those ingredients?
Absolutely. I will definitely do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great kind of feedback, guys. So thank you for chatting with Alex, and thank you, Alex, for helping me figure out what to do to make the best experience for you guys. Okay, so again, so far all I've done is I've added red food coloring to the glue that I was using. This is not red enough for me personally. I want mine to be super, super red, so I'm going to go ahead and add a second drop. That should be good. I'm going to go ahead and mix that in. Yes.
And Courtney, we've had a few questions, people asking what they could use as a storage container for their slime.
That's a great question. So pretty much you just want something that's going to close and seal so that way your slime doesn't dry out. So my recommendation would be a plastic container. There are these really nice 8-ounce plastic jars that you can find at michaels.com. You can also use a plastic baggie that can close. Really anything that you can put a lid over. Of course, check with your adults that you're working with today to make sure that if you're using any food storage containers, it's something that they are comfortable with you using, but anything that has a lid or can, seal shut, that will be good for your slime just so it doesn't dry out. Okay. So now that the food coloring is mixed in, we're going to go ahead and activate. So I'm going to switch gears and use baking soda and contact lens solution. So what we're first going to do now that we have our glue and our food coloring is we're going to add the baking soda. So my recommendation, especially for a single bottle of glue, whether it's a 4-ounce glue, a 5-ounce glue, a 6-ounce glue, any of those, is to add a teaspoon of baking soda. You can measure out a teaspoon. I'm going to just dump a little bit in. It's going to be probably about a nickel's worth, somewhere between a dime and a nickel. You can't add too much, so it's okay if you add a little more. It's also okay if you add a little less. There's not really a big right or wrong. It's just to help the molecules in the glue bond to that in the contact lens solution better to make a really nice, super stretchy slime. But it's more, think of it almost as like an enhancer. So it's okay if you add a little more or a little less. So I'm just going to shake in about that much. You can see it's not perfect, not a perfect circle. That's okay. Once you have that in, we're going to mix it in completely so you can't see any of the powder any longer. This should especially be easy if you're using a colored slime here because pretty much you don't want to see any more white. It means that both your food coloring and your baking soda have been mixed in. So I don't see any more powder. So that means the baking soda section, done. Are there any questions about that, Alex, for the baking soda before we move on?
Nope, no questions yet.
Okay, perfect. So now that we have our baking soda, our food coloring mixed into our glue, now is the time to add the contact lens solution. And this is what's going to turn your glue into your slime. So I'm using this one here, and what you're going to do is you're going to add about a teaspoon's worth, even less if that, if you don't want to measure it, of the contact lens solution at a time, so that way you can mix it in and assess, is my slime still really glue-like? Is it starting to turn into slime? That way you can help avoid your slime becoming overactivated, which means you've added a lot of the contact lens solution and your slime is probably going to be a bit firmer potentially even more like a putty texture. It's not going to be as stretchy. So if that's the slime that you prefer, you may add more than I add. That's totally great. If you prefer your slime to be a bit tackier and a bit stretchier, you can follow along with me. That's the kind of slime I'll be making, but there's no right or wrong. Continue to add as much or as little of the contact lens solution until you feel like the slime is the right consistency as you hold it in your hands. So I'm going to add, again, just a 1-2 squirt, just a quick zigzag of the contact lens solution. And I'm going to mix that in with my spatula.
And Courtney, we had somebody share a joke, so I'm going to share it with you. Okay.
I love jokes.
What does a snowman eat for breakfast?
Oh gosh, I don't know, but I love snowmen. I feel like I should know this.
Frosted flakes.
That is so funny. That's so cute. That is. Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna steal that. That's amazing. If you have any more puns, jokes, feel free to keep sharing them. We're just gonna be mixing slime for a few minutes here. So you can see my glue is still completely runny. So I'm gonna add another 1-2 zigzag of my contact lens solution. 1-2. Mix that in. Starting to get that little bit of like almost like a spider web look. That means it's very slowly starting to turn into slime, but as you can see, super runny. I would say do not touch this at this point. It's going to get all stuck over your fingers. So we're going to add another 1-2 of the contact lens solution. 1-2. Mix that around. So you can see it's starting to kind of spread, which means it's starting to stick to the bowl, which is better than it being a glue consistency, which means we're one step closer, but still super runny if you can see this here. Not yet even like a taffy consistency. So we're going to add another 1-2. 1-2. And we're going to stir that up. What we're looking for is for the slime to stick to itself and not our bowl. Did you see that? See how that just came off? Look at that, starting to pull off the sides of the bowl, which means it's sticking to itself and not the bowl, which is so crucial in my opinion to getting the right slime consistency. Because this means it's also probably not going to stick to your fingers if it's sticking to itself and not the bowl. So we're going to try and scrape some of this off. And this same exact rule of thumb applies if you're using the magical liquid. So if you're using that, you also want to wait and continue to add magic liquid a little bit at a time until it no longer sticks to the bowl. So I'm going to just go ahead and start cleaning off my spatula because I feel like this slime is almost ready to be touched. So I'm just keeping it, I like to keep it between a couple of fingers. That way my whole hand doesn't get messy. That's a personal preference, not by any means necessary. I'm going to go in again with 1 to 2 fingers here and just touch it. Okay, so it is sticking to my finger a little bit more there than you've seen probably the other slimes I've made. So I'm going to be really careful. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. So I'm going to add another 1-2 of the contact lens solution. And I'll just go in with my fingers this time and press it in. You can go back and use whatever stirring utensil you're using. This isn't too sticky, so I think for simplicity, I'm just going to use my fingers because it is slime. It's just a little bit tackier than I want it to be. So I'm going to clean off the sides of my bowl. Once you're able to touch it, it's no longer sticking to you. That means you can also clean up your bowl. Easy cleanup. Who doesn't love that? This is my favorite portion of the slime process before getting to play with it. And now we're at a point where the slime can be held. You can mix it, squish it between your fingers, whatever you want to do. Hopefully it's no longer sticking. If it is sticking to you, go ahead and put it back in your bowl like I'm going to do. Add just another 1-2, whatever activating solution you're using. Just going to press that in. So like I mentioned,
and Courtney, we've had some people ask what should they do if their slime's a little overactivated?
That's a great question. So my recommendation, and I know this is not fun, my recommendation is to let it sit and don't touch it for a few minutes. So what happens is when you actually continue to mix your slime or play with your slime once it's overactivated, you're actually continuing to like mix together the molecules in the activating solution and the molecules in the glue that get that bond. So actually just letting it sit, letting it rest for a few minutes should help soften the slime a little bit. I would definitely not mix it any further. You could add glue. That's not my favorite recommendation. It depends on how overactivated it is because that is messy. I would definitely, if you're going to add more glue, definitely go back and grab your mixing utensil and mix that in really good. so that you're not getting pure glue all over your fingers. I find that to be a much more difficult way than to just let it sit. It could take 30 minutes. So I know that that's not fun because we all want to get in and play with our slime. But that would be my recommendation. It's better to have slime to play with in 30 minutes than something that you don't like now. So I would just let it sit in the bowl for a little bit, go back in, you can touch it and see how it's doing in a few minutes, every couple of minutes until you're like, okay, no, this is ready to pick up. But the more you play with it, the more activated it'll get because it's actually linking up those molecules together. So hopefully that is helpful.
Perfect. Thank you. And then one more question.
Yeah.
Say somebody were to get some slime stuck on their clothes. Do you have any recommendations for how to get that out?
Sure. So if you are using Elmer's glue, and if you were using Elmer's Magic Liquid, those ingredients are washable and they should come out of your clothes. Now, depending on which food coloring you use, hopefully those are also washable ingredients, especially if you're using food dye, that should definitely come off your skin. But definitely the Elmer's glues and Elmer's Magical Liquids are all washable. So you can use warm water, a little bit of soap. You should be able to rub it out, put it in the washer. It should not damage your clothes. And I'm sorry. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my glitter. We've activated the slime. It's no longer sticking to me. So to round it out, I'm gonna add in some glitter really fast because I like to add glitter. You do not need to do this. I'm just going really fast. And then I'm gonna show you how to make the candy cane. So as I did before, I'm just adding the glitter directly on top of my mixed slime. I'm gonna press it in with my fingers because it's very soft. I think it looks so pretty. I'm gonna fold my slime over, press it some more, fold it this direction, pretty much fold it from every direction until your glitter is fully mixed in so it doesn't fall out of your slime, because that's no fun. If I'm gonna put glitter in my slime, I want it to stay in there. Mixing very thoroughly, now we'll take it out. Gonna mix it in with my hands. I like to pull my slime apart, fold it over itself. And I think this slime pretty much ready to go. I absolutely love the way this looks. It's got the really pretty glitter in it. It looks just like the red in a candy cane. So now I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna put my bowl to the side. Like I said, I'm gonna use just a piece of parchment paper. You can take a paper plate. I would not recommend like a napkin because your slime may stick to it, but something like a paper plate, piece of parchment paper, something that the slime will not stick to. You can of course put it directly on your table if you're adult, whoever owns the table, as long as they say so. But I'm going to use parchment paper here. So I'm going to show you how to make the candy cane swirl. My recommendation is to actually just start with a little piece of slime. So I just tore off a little piece here, and that's just because it's a bit easier to mix this way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it down flat. And then I'm going to go back to the white slime that I put to the side, and I'm going to pull off a little piece of that, about the same size. It's okay if it's not exact. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna pull this apart a little bit, and I'm actually gonna lay it directly on top. So you can see, it's almost like a hot dog of two different slimes. And really all it is, I'm gonna try to pick it up here, and you're just gonna twist it. And then you're gonna fold it over, and you just kind of wanna keep this process of twisting and folding until you get these really pretty lines. And then as you get the lines, you can kind of stretch it out, roll it over, so it makes this cute little candy cane. I'll show that again. I'm gonna take a little piece of the red, I'm gonna pull it out, lay it down flat. I'm gonna take a little bit of the white, I'm gonna pull that. Again, a small piece about the same size as the red. I'm gonna pull that apart. I'm gonna lay that directly on top of the red. I'm gonna pick up both ends. Have to be quick. And there's no right or wrong. This is just for fun. I'm gonna pull it apart, fold it over, and we're gonna twist. And then once it starts to fall, we're gonna grab the other end, pull, twist, so you get this really nice color blend here. And everyone's gonna look really unique, which I really like. Twist and drop it. Once you drop it, you can always adjust the top. Yeah, that one looks pretty good, huh? That looks like a candy cane. This is just a fun activity. You made red and white slime. I'm going to show you what it looks like if you just want to mix all of your slime together. The rest of my white slime here to get out of my container. I'm actually going to switch back to my bowl here. I'm going to lay it directly on top of my red. So we have our two slimes combined. I'm going to pick this up. You can fold it over, whatever works best. You do have two slimes now, so this is a bit bigger. I'm just going to fold it over and I'm just going to pull, flip, pull, flip. Just get this really pretty blending of the colors when you pull it apart and fold it over. Looks so nice. Candy cane slime. Super simple. This is the easy way. This is if you want to make a fun little craft out of it. But this is it. This is slime. Do you have any questions about that, Alex?
Nope, no questions.
Perfect. That's it, guys. Those are the slimes that I wanted to show you guys today. Winter inspired. I really hope that you had a great time. If you didn't have the slime ingredients with you today, no worries. I hope you come back and visit this video tomorrow on michaels.com. If you've made any of these slimes today, please have your adult that's in your life post on social media, hashtag make it with Michaels, as well as tagging at Elmer's Products so we can see everything that you've made. I really hope you had a great time. Hope you have a great winter. And come back and see us on Saturday for the snowflake tinker tray. I will be leading it again. We're gonna make this really pretty snowflake. We're gonna show you how to organize all your really fun snowflake ingredients. I'll share some super exciting snowflake facts. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great day. I really enjoyed having you. Thank you so much for spending the last hour with me and hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks, guys. Bye.